All right. So to start with the first question, Vivek would love to know how did you got into AR and VR, and what is the complete game about AR and VR according to you?
Right, I'm glad that you asked this question. See, AR is a very passionate topic to me. VR also, obviously. I got into this business of augmented and virtual reality through a passion project. So I started virtual reality back in 2015 while I was just out of my college. I was curious that how a consumer grade VR would work, and I made a makeshift VR headset at my home. It was a DIY VR headset, and that was my first glimpse into what virtual reality is. And now we are here. So it's been a great journey, and I hope you learn something while I explain how I went through this journey. Right?
Exactly. That is really interesting. That the career starts from the college projects and how you turn out your choices into your career. So, not minding, but can I ask you what was that project and bit about detail, or what was that? Who was your mentor? What made you feel like, okay, this is what I want to get into?
Right. So no, like I said, it was a passion project. I did it in my spare time at my home, but I was curious whether how does Google VR work, and it was just out, and we couldn't get hands on the official Google Cardboard headset. So I tried to make my own, and the story goes that I made one out of a shoebox and then few lenses of a few magnifying glass lenses. It was a very makeshift solution, but it made it through. And then the first time that I've seen a VR experience in the headset, it was flabbergasting. I mean I was shocked, and yeah, that is the passion that I bring along.
So interesting. Something started with the shoebox, and today you own your own organization, Parallax. Right. That is an amazing thing to hear it out, that how the passion drives, this is the real
it does.
Sense, But just moving forward, I want to ask the other question, which is a very industry buzz question. These days people have this, what is AR, what is VR, what is AR, VR? So, I want you to enlighten to the audience that how you differentiate AR and VR, and not the Google definition, but we try to understand in your terms that what is AR and VR.
Yeah, and people do get confused between AR and VR a lot. AR stands for augmented reality. VR stands for virtual reality, wherein augmented reality, not going very technical like you said, is just enhancing your environment, right? So to give you an example, Snapchat filters or Instagram filters are essentially AR elements, wherein your face is the reality and the filter that you apply to it is the digital aspect of it. That is essentially what AR is. On the other hand, VR is where your total environment changes. What do I mean by that is, through the help of special hardware, through the help of special glasses that you put on, you're getting teleported to a different world altogether. Again, what do I mean by that is, you feel as if you are in a different world. You feel as if you're not here in present, you are somewhere else. And that feeling is what is VR essentially, in non-technical terms. Technically, yes, AR is superimposition of digital aspects on your real world so as to enhance your reality. Virtual reality is superimposition such that it totally hinders your current senses and bring you to a different world. But yes, that
but
is.
But still a small extension to this. When you see AR is something which you get in your screen, and the mobile screen of which the tool is, and the VR is you take an individual into that reality. That's why we call it virtual reality.
Right.
How do you lay it down so that age group of 40 to 60 still they try to understand and they relate to this? What is the layman term of this?
So imagine you wanted to be a part of movie, or you wanted to be a part of game, right? So to relate to non-technical audiences, I would say, imagine you wanted to be a part of movie, and I gave you a chance to do that in your life right now. So I'll give you a VR headset, I'll give you a special hardware to wear. You put that on and you essentially feel that you are inside a movie. That is what VR is in layman terms. Nice. In AR terms, a great example would be Pokemon Go, wherein you just pull out your camera from your smartphone and you see digital stuff just playing around, as if it's essentially magic. You feel magic happening right in front of you, and that is how I'd say AR is.
Nice.
Right.
So just going for the next question would be, how do you differentiate between AR and VR in a simple language, where you say that AR is only this and VR is only this?
Right.
Yeah.
So this needs a bit of technical definition. So what happens is, AR, like I said, it enhances your reality. VR totally attempts to change your reality. So it tries to gain all of your senses. It tries to gain attention of all of your senses, and then take you to a different world. while AR just hinders some of your senses. Why I try to avoid the word hinders is it tries to enhances your senses, not hinder your senses. So, like giving an example, AR would be something which takes up a small floor space or small area in your field of view, while VR takes up almost all of your field of view. To put it in different words, what would happen is in VR, the attempt of VR is to make you forget that you are in a reality, while the attempt of AR is make you remember while also enhancing your reality. So that is how core technically you could go to differentiate what AR and VR is. But at the core, in very simple words, AR is just some betterment of your environment. VR is just replacing the environment.
Okay. I completely relate to this, and I just want to deviate a little bit from the context. I know IT and the whole digital thing is digital. It is not a tangible by any chance.
Right.
But is by any chance AR or VR can get into the tangible zone, can get into the tangible arena where we can touch and feel the things? That
is actually a great perspective. AR and VR both have tried to do the tangible thing. I mean, what do I mean by that is they are here to stay and they are here to replace whatever technologies we have right now. So let's say if you are putting on a VR headset, the whole attempt of VR is to make you forget that you are in a reality, and getting haptics, getting tangible aspects, getting attention of all of your senses is what they are trying to do anyways. Speaking of VR, not speaking of AR here, in future obviously both of the fields, both of the aspects are going to converge to a certain point, and then you can't even differentiate between what is AR and what is VR. But yes, like you said, a tangible aspect is coming, and a lot of examples, a lot of applications, and a lot of good products that do provide you some sort of tangible experiences VR do exist right now.
Extension to your point, I just realized that one of my dreams is to do scuba diving. I don't know, because I have a lot of fear of water, but is it possible that I wear a headset and I get into the water, I can see fishes around me, I can feel the water, I can feel the fish?
It's very much possible, and that's actually a great application of VR, wherein different phobias can be treated with you not being exposed to those phobias directly. What do you mean by that is, for you to get your fear of water out, what I could do is, you could be sitting right here putting a VR headset on, and then you will feel as if you are scuba diving. You will feel all the things. You will feel that you are in a depth. You will feel the fishes flowing around you. If you have proper hardware, if you have proper suits, you could even touch and feel everything around you. And then slowly exposing you to those things, I can take your water phobia out, or whatever the phobia is called, aquaphobia if I'm not wrong.
Wow, but this is really an amazing, where we can treat such mental treatments or maybe the phobia treatments with the VR. But I don't know, I might deviate a little bit from, again, the next question would be, I think this is more related to the designing the objects in the VR glasses. So do you think a candidate, just from an point of view, where the one who's working on VR should also be good at designing? Because however things are virtual, B is, if it's virtual, we have to design that virtual things, right? So how do you answer this?
So that's a great question again. For designing VR experiences, I personally feel that you need not be a good designer, you need to be a good observer. Right? VR and AR are essentially enhancing your realities. So it is part of your reality. What do I mean by that is, in typical experiences, like for example, your websites, your applications, you design in a 2D fashion. You design for interactions in 2D fashion. While in virtual reality, the interactions are all 3D. Right? They are bound to be, how do I say, intuitive. They are bound to be very analogous to what real interactions are. For example, let's say if there's a door in virtual reality, you'll have to open the door knob like you would do in real life. So the design philosophy, the design mentality that goes in is very real. It relates to the reality that we are in. So for you to design a door in a game, you would make some UI elements. But in a VR game, you literally make a door and you open the door with a knob.
Wow. So the paradigm of complete design changes when it comes on a VR and the AR.
It does. It totally does.
Wow, that's really a good point you mentioned, Vivek. But Vivek, if I ask you in this way, which industry or which sector is doing the best or ideal utilization so far in this time for AR or VR, which is those industries? It could be BFSI, could be travel, could be healthcare, but which according to you is the best right now?
So the most giving industry for AR is e-commerce right now. That's what I feel. What I mean by giving is the industry that is gaining more out of augmented reality and then thus popularizing AR is A, e-commerce, B, gaming. And why do I say AR first is because AR is the more accessible of both. VR needs special hardware to be accessed, right? You need special headsets or some sort of cheaper version of a professional headset, and then you could see hint of what VR is. But conversely, in AR, you just need a smartphone. It's not limited to a smartphone. You could do AR with a plethora of devices, but smartphone is the most accessible one, and the technology that revolves around smartphone is also evolving, so you get to see a lot of AR. So coming back to your question, which is what industries are benefiting out of AR, I would say e-commerce, gaming. I would also say maintenance and training, wherein if you need to train someone remotely, earlier you needed to have a supervisor or some sort of mechanism to do training, right? But in AR you can just put on a AR headset, an MR headset, mixed reality headset, and then you could do training. Similarly for VR, you could do training inside of VR without even needing to have the machine or have the equipment right in front of you.
So this application which we discussed right now for e-commerce, is this related to B2B or it's B2C?
It's almost always B2C, wherein B2B people would not want to see the products, right? I mean, people do want to see the product, but B2C is where people would love to interact with the product that they have. So let's say you're buying a bag, a travel bag, and you almost always don't get the size correct, right? But imagine that you have the travel bag right besides you, and then you could gauge the size of it, while how it looks along with your gestures, along with your body, and then you go to buy, and that's a great application of AR. Yeah.
So true. Well, that's the perfect thing. I think e-commerce is doing really very well. But according to you, which industry should have done it more better than e-commerce, and they haven't started, or if they have started, they're late in the race of adoption of.
Education is the field that I feel should gain more out of at their full potential. Right now, they're not trying at their full potential.
But I think the primary players like Byju's, Vedantu, and etc. What do you think? How far they are in the race of?
I'll give you an example. Amazon does AR, IKEA does AR, Flipkart has recently announced AR. There are major players, e-commerce players that are doing AR. Yes. Even Lenskart is doing AR.
Yes.
But as opposed to that, name one good AR educational application. You don't, right? Even Byju's is trying. I mean, Byju's are doing great. They are doing research and everything, but I want to see good AR educational applications. Why I say that is because educational applications are one of the best applications of AR that you can have, because we are visual learners, because we need to see stuff with our eyes to comprehend them better. So yeah.
Yes, sir. So extending to the previous question, just to frame it out, if you get an opportunity to give back to the educational industry or industry which you mentioned, it's not doing good with the adoption of AR and VR, what is that you would love to implement and change the industry's performer?
Right. A shorter answer would be AR textbooks. The bigger answer would be yes, I would love to give back to the educational industry a lot. True. Like I said, we are visual learners, and then I've seen people get the concept of what an IC engine is or what a cell is, right? You see 2D diagrams versus you see 3D visuals of what is happening. The conventional model of atom, right? The planetary model of atom. You get a 2D image versus you get a 3D image. Difference is night and day. And then sadly I don't see a lot of applications happening, and then that is what drives me that I should do a lot for educational AR.
So just at the closing note, I don't know how big are you an Iron Man fan, but I am at the same time. So can we say that the future of kids would be learning in a pattern of Iron Man, like something happening around them, the objects are floating here and there?
Yes, it very much is. Iron Man has done, obviously big fan of Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., but Iron Man needed, what I feel for the future, Iron Man needed special hardware and lenses and everything in front of his helmet to see what is happening in the world, to make context out of it. But in future, I think there'll be technologies where you don't even need a glass or some special hardware. You might have contact lenses, or you might have special implants so that you can see AR directly. So that's the future that
Perfect. That's really a great session to talk with you, Vivek. Hope like the further sessions will have more insights driven to it.
Right.
Thank you.
Right, I'm glad to be here at TechWay TV, and if you have any doubts, I'm here. You can ask me all of your doubts in the comment section down below, and please do like and share this video. Thank you.